Hey, Les Lethal people. So I want to talk to you tonight about something I've been thinking a lot about and over the past week, but I haven't been able to really talk too much about it because I've been so busy with the 3D printing and everything, getting parts made and stuff with my buddy Angelo. So I want to talk about reliability. Um, I really have been thinking of the comparison between less lethal launchers and real firearms. And I could probably compare a lot of less lethal launchers, like specific models, to specific firearms, such as like the S2 from Salt Supply. That to me is the Glock of less lethal launchers. It requires not much maintenance at all. It's always reliable and functions wonderfully. It may not be the prettiest, neither is the Glock. However, it's peace of mind. It gets the job done and does what you need it to do. It's versatile. It can shoot chemicals. It can shoot kinetics. So I can equate that to the Glock of less lethals. The M17, I can obviously relate that to the AR-15. Another launcher, it needs maintenance. AR-15s, apparently they need a ton of maintenance, right? They need a lot of lubing. They need a lot of lubing on the bolt guide. The M17, less lethal launcher, needs a lot of oil after at least every time you change your HPA tank in the back, you should shoot some silicone oil in that hole. It needs constant lubrication. So very similar. The next one, Pistelli 68. That launcher needs a ton of oil. Every time I use it, after every CO2 cartridge, I drop oil down the tube and I drop a little oil on the CO2 cartridge itself. It uses air gun oil. It's an air gun oil pig. So it needs maintenance. Same thing when you go to your high-end air rifles like the Western Rattler, the Edgun Leshy. I don't have much experience with those. I don't own any. I was lucky enough to, when I went to DK's, to shoot the Western Rattler. But from what I understand, they come with O-rings. They come what you need to do constant maintenance on them. Just because you need to do maintenance on something does not mean it is not reliable or it is not a good product. And hence I will say the 1911. It's one of the greatest firearms in the world. It can be very reliable. You need to have the right ammo. You need to have the constant oil on it, maintenance on it to keep it oiled up, and it will run forever. Hence, it was from 1911. Same thing with the Pistelli 68. If you maintain this, it will 100% be reliable. It will 100% be a phenomenal. It is not a poorly made launcher. It's made wonderfully. The quality is very good for the price. I don't find it to be cheap or crappy at all. I think it's really great, and the power is fantastic. And like I said, I haven't had an issue yet with it. Do I anticipate having to change O-rings? Of course. That'd be like saying I have a firearm and I don't anticipate on cleaning it and oiling it. Or I have a 1911 and I don't plan on ever changing the guide rod spring, and you're supposed to do that after every 500 rounds. So guys that have real firearms deal with the same stuff we're dealing with here. It's just a lot of guys in the less lethal community don't have that experience, so they are unfamiliar with it, but it is going on out there. You need to change parts. You need to maintain certain launchers. So every single launcher out there, whether it be the Pistelli or the Salt Supply S2, will need some sort of like oil. I could get away with putting far less oil in this, maybe every 3 to 5 CO2 cartridges and not having an issue. It's not nearly as finicky as the Pistelli, but it's not under the same pressure. You got to understand the amount of pressure, 20 something joules as opposed to 50 joules plus. So you have to take it from where it's coming from. Don't get hung up in, oh my God, I'm not going to get that. You know what? It's a little expensive. Everybody says it needs. Guys, if you're in this hobby, you're going to at some point have to do some sort of fixing and maintenance on your launcher. And YouTube is wonderful. There's a lot of great guys out there. There's a lot of great videos. And even if we come out of the launcher field and we move into something else, like such as if you have a hobby of motorcycles, you know things come loose somewhat. You're going to at some point have to tighten a bolt or do something to that or fix something. Granted, we can always take them to the shop, but if you're on the side of the road and something goes wrong or something's rattling off, it's nice to reach in your tool bag, pull out a socket or an Allen wrench and tighten the thing up and be able to fix it right then and there. So it's really the same thing. Just because something needs maintenance does not mean it's not reliable. You have to maintain it in order for it to be reliable. A lot of big machinery out there is very reliable. You have machinery building buildings, digging up ground, CNC machines, mills, lathes. They require a lot of maintenance. Belts being changed, oil being changed, oil being added. They are reliable. You just have to constantly do it. And that's the way it is with some of these high-end air guns out there or these launchers. And I'm sure as time goes on, these launchers are getting better and better and more powerful. It's just going to require that. And we have to educate ourselves. Part of the whole education process, yes, we know how to use the launcher now or the self-defense weapon. Okay, maybe we're doing training. Maybe we're doing CQB training for home in case something happens, close quarter, combat, whatever, inside of a house. That's part of training. The other part of training is the maintaining. And the maintaining your launcher so it's in good working order, it's lubed up all the time, it's clean, it's not full of dust, where you store it, how you take care of it, that's all part of the education process. So knowing how to use it, just having it is not good enough. You got to have one, stick with one, know how to work it, doesn't matter which one you choose, and then know how to fix and repair and maintain it. And it will be reliable for you. Yes, there are times you might just happen to get a lemon out there, something that comes broken or something that isn't that great, and you may have to send it back. But 99% of the time, it's going to be something that's a maintenance issue, something you have to do. And like all these guys that got O-rings for these Pistelli 68s, everybody was like, oh my God, what do? I got to get an O-ring. It's the easiest thing in the world. And now it's like, oh, wow, this is great. Anytime this goes wrong, all I got to do is fix it. And the whole mindset changes. It's like, wow, now I got a launcher I can fix in 5 minutes in my house, and boom, I'm ready to go out again. I don't have to return it to the company. I don't have to go a week without having it, mail it back to the manufacturer, have him look at it, open it up, fix it, and now 3-4 months go by and I have nothing to protect myself. That's where it gets good. You're educating yourself, you're getting handy. You don't have to have a full workshop. You could just have a couple of little tools that you need, launcher specific, in a desk drawer. And just make a little kit, a little box of supplies that you need for whatever launcher you're, most comfortable carrying, the one that you prefer, and you have all extra parts for that one and you're ready to go. So You know, me personally, and my channel, it gears more towards concealed carry, and it gears more towards the pistol launchers. And as better ones come out, I'll be doing reviews, and as other ones come out. But so far, out of all the pistol launchers out there, I have my top three. And 1 and 2 are a tie for number 3 is going to be, where is it? I have it somewhere. I'm not sure. Oh, here, it's right here. Number 3 is going to be, without any surprise, the HDP 50. That's my number 3 choice. Why is it my number 3 choice? Well, it's only because it's a 50 cal. If this was 68, it'd be up there with the other ones. Modified, it has probably the same power as the S2, but it's in 50 cal, and it's very hard to get a 50 caliber chemical round that's good for this. And kinetic wise, I would rather go with the S2, but this does make number 3 super easy to carry. It's the easiest one to carry out of all of them. It feels wonderful in the hand. The price is fantastic, and this requires pretty much zero maintenance, and anything that has to be done is such an easy launcher to work on. When you open it up, there's maybe 3 springs you got to worry about in here, and they're all very easy to put back, if anything, and it's extremely upgradable. So the HDP 50 comes in at number 3. Okay, number 1 and number 2, I gotta be honest with you. S2 and Pistelli 68, they're, I have a love for each one of these. I love the power. I love everything about the Pistelli 68. I love everything about the S2. I don't have any, if there are any complaints about either of them, it's so minute that it wouldn't even register. I use both of them regularly. I've carried both, not on my person. I've kept, like, if I've gone out somewhere, I may have had this on my person and this in a bag in the car with me. This I like keeping in the car with me too at all times. Just in case, if I want to go hiking somewhere, I can throw this on. I stop, I go somewhere where I know I have all the chemicals that I will need, chemical rounds in here. Fantastic. So for now, of all the launchers that are out there, and the great thing is they don't need to be modified. They're perfect in the stock form that you get them. That's the one thing I can't say about the HDP 50. This does need modification. You have to take the valve block out. You have to put the power kit in. And, I had to do a dye job on the slide. Although now I think Modern Combat Sports can get the black ones for you as of now in the, new generation ones. So this one does require more customization than these. Those are just right out the box. You're getting 2 phenomenal launchers. And that would bring me to another point, legality issue. If I was using, let's say these 2 have the same exact power. This one's modified, this one is not. Well, how is it going to look in front of a jury if I modified something to make it more powerful as opposed to something I bought that was less lethal that just came out of the box? I think you'd be more favored using something that you bought as a less lethal and didn't modify it to be more powerful, even though they're the same power. Okay, the jury may not look at it that way if you had to do that. So for me, number 1 and 2 are the Pistelli 68 and the Salt Supply S2, hands down. Anyway, I rambled on enough. Have a good night, guys.